Greetings everyone, I'm Kangaroo Coffee and Kangaroo Court is now in session. Today I'm here to give you 10 more Stardew Valley tips and tricks for new and experienced players alike. These tips have all been very helpful to me in my Stardew Valley journey, and I think they can help you too. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, let's start with tip number 10, which is using your upgraded hoe and watering can properly. It took me a long time to learn that your hoe and watering can gain new capabilities when they're upgraded. So this is an iridium hoe, and when you hold down the mouse button, as you can see, it hoes a lot of land all at once. Now, that's true also with watering cans, and not only with iridium level. It's also true with copper, gold, steel, or any of them. And so, if you have a copper watering can, for example, let's use the watering can here, when you hold the mouse down, it'll go out 3 spaces, like that. We can do it over here so you can see it. And then if you have a, what's the next level up? I think a steel watering can, then it goes out a little bit farther. And then if you have gold, then it goes out like that. And then if you have iridium, it goes all the way, like that. So that is a good thing to know, because otherwise you're paying Clint to upgrade your tools for nothing. Next up is number 9, putting fruit trees in your greenhouse. So you can actually place fruit trees inside your greenhouse. And if you do that, then they'll actually produce fruit year-round instead of only in their usual season. So that's a great way to make sure you have fruit being produced year-round, even in the wintertime. Okay, moving on to tip number 8. Which is putting one machine outside. So if you have a little operation going, like say you are brewing a lot of wine here, then you got a lot of kegs going, you got a lot of wine or a lot of beer going, then put one of your machines outside. And that way you can easily see when it's done, and then you can go inside and harvest the batch. So I just find that's a very convenient way to, because it's very easy to forget that, all these things can be sitting in here, sitting on ready, but you don't even know because you haven't gone in there in a while. But having one outside tells you right away that you have wine ready or whatever it is that you're making. Of course, it also works with preserves jars or any other machine. Just put one outside and you'll see when they're done. All right, next on our list is tip number 7, and that is that there is no need to contain animals. They won't leave your farm. I play Minecraft and was convinced I needed to put up fences to keep my animals contained, but that's not the case in Stardew Valley. It also does not hurt your crops for your animals to walk on them. So there's really no reason to close your barn doors or to put fences up to keep your animals contained. I have some fences up just mainly for aesthetic reasons, but and also just to make sure all my truffles are in sort of one area. But really, though, you don't really need to actually have up fences or, keep them contained at all, because they will always, by the time night falls, they will find their way back to their assigned barn or coop, and as long as the door is open, then they'll go back inside and they'll be safe for the night. So there's really no need to put up fences or close your barn doors. Which brings us to the next one, which is there is absolutely no reason to ever close your barn doors. If you close your barn doors, then there's always the risk that they will end up actually, being trapped outside overnight. And that's even worse than anything that can happen from the doors being open. So animals cannot be attacked by wild animals while they are inside the barn, even with the door open. And so animals are only attacked whenever they are stuck outside at night, and that's because the door is closed. So it doesn't really make any sense to ever close the door of your barns. I usually do in the wintertime just because I feel like it keeps them warmer, but that's actually, I don't think, part of the game. So I don't think there's ever actually a good reason to close your barn door. Alright, for our next tip, just a little bit of information here. Any area where NPCs do not walk can be used for anything you want. So in my last tips video, I mentioned putting a chest outside the mines. You can put chests anywhere that NPCs don't walk. Now I'm standing here in the quarry, and NPCs don't walk in pretty much any area of the quarry. So it's pretty much this whole other area. Ooh, a diamond. It's pretty much this whole other area that you can use to place machines, or you can put a bunch of kegs out here, or just whatever you want. I haven't really done anything with it, but you can see on YouTube that there are a lot of people who have done stuff with it, and it's totally an option because NPCs don't walk here. So now the thing is if you put something where an NPC does walk, then they'll just walk right through it and destroy it. So you certainly don't want to do that. But someplace like the quarry, and you can look at a map actually at StardewValleyWiki.com, and I'll put up a link on the screen there and put it in the description. And so you can look there and find a map that shows everywhere where NPCs walk in Stardew Valley. One cool thing in Stardew Valley is that you can actually run your hoe over sprinklers. So I'll show you what I mean here. So we'll put down a sprinkler, and we will run our hoe over it. So we'll try to hoe over the sprinkler, and it will stay put right there. So as you can see, even if we walk right up on it and do that, it doesn't go anywhere. So whenever you're hoeing your crops or you're hoeing the ground, I guess you don't hoe your crops, but whenever you're hoeing the ground, then you don't have to worry about the sprinkler coming up. You don't have to worry about trying to hoe around it. Like, I used to always do that, just like try to hoe around it. Might as well grab that artifact while we're here. Hey, Omnigeode. But yeah, so if you want to remove a sprinkler, you just hit it with your pickaxe or another tool, but anything other than the hoe. Alright, for our next tip, we're back here on the farm, and we are standing here in our little apple tree grove. And the reason I'm here is that I think a really good idea and a good tip for this game is if you're going to plant fruit trees, which I certainly recommend, you want to plant them on the very first day of the season before the season when they are going to start producing. So, for example, these apple trees here produce in the fall, but it is currently the spring. So they are not producing right now. And so if these are brand new saplings, I would want to plant them on summer 1, because then they would start producing as soon as fall 1 arrived. And so otherwise they would still be maturing on into fall, and then that's a lot of apples you're losing out on. So if you're going to plant fruit trees, look on the little guide that you see at Pierre's when you hover over the fruit tree that shows you, it tells you what season that they produce in. Look at that and then plant them on the first of the season before they start producing. Alright, now it's time for tip number 2. There are big benefits to cooking, so don't overlook it in the game. Whenever I first started playing Stardew Valley, I didn't really care about cooking because I was like, I've got plenty of mushrooms, I don't really need to do that. But there's actually really big benefits in doing so. So let me show you here. So what we have here, the dishes that are lit up are the ones that I can actually make right now because I have both the recipe and the items on hand, either in these fridges or in my inventory here. And so the reason cooking is great is because a lot of different dishes offer what's called a buff, which means just basically a boost in some in one of your basically something that helps you, right? So for example, we have crab cakes. The crab cakes have 2 good buffs. +1 speed and +1 defense, which you can see at the bottom of this little menu that comes up when I hover over it. Let's see, here's one mango sticky rice that has a +3 defense. And then a lot of them don't, right? So plum pudding doesn't have a special buff. Artichoke dip doesn't, a lot of them don't. But the ones that do can really, really help you. Roots platter gives you a +3 attack. So that's a good one before you go into the mines. Here's Miner's Treat. This is a good one that gives you +3 mining and a +32 magnetism, so it's really easy to pick up stuff in the mines. We're going to go ahead and make a spicy eel, which gives us a +1 luck a +1 luck buff and a +1 speed buff. And so this will help us if we were to decide to go to the mines, and we'll get a lot more loot that way, and we'll get ladders a lot more quickly from that luck buff. So definitely don't ignore cooking in Stardew Valley. Alright, so for our last tip, number 1, if you are going to the mines and it is getting close to 2 a.m., then rather than rushing home, I think you should just let yourself pass out. Particularly if you're in the mid part of the game, because all it does is it doesn't take any items, like if you get killed, okay? If you're just passing out at 2 a.m., then it doesn't take your items, and you only lose 10% of your gold, and that maxes out at 1,000 gold. So the most you can possibly lose is 1,000 gold, and if you're really going through the mines and you're getting a lot of good stuff, then you might find that prismatic shard in the last few minutes. And when you pass out, it's really no big deal. At most, you'll lose about 1,000 gold, particularly when you're in the mid to late game. It's really not too bad, and I think that's preferable to trying to run home as quick as you can. So it's okay to pass out. Don't worry about it. When 2 a.m. arrives, unless you're in the very early game, then, I think it's definitely preferable to just go ahead and allow yourself to pass out and just save yourself some stress and get whatever items that you can while you're still there in the mines. So anyway, those are my next top 10 tips. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and watch this video. Thank you very much for watching, and please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. It's awesome to see this channel getting bigger and to see more people subscribing. So anyway, please, I would love for you to join in and be a part of this channel. So anyway, thanks again, and Kangaroo Court is now adjourned. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.